You guys, today I am here with Shawn Bagley. He is the CEO and founder of BluLight Consulting, and he's one of my dear friends,
Yes,
one of the smartest people that I know. Shawn, I'm so happy to
thank
have
you.
you here. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful, my friend. It's always good to see you. It's
Oh,
been a while. You were just in my neck of the woods too, right?
I
I'm
was.
so sorry I missed you.
I know. Next time, next time.
Yes, it's been a crazy week.
Has it?
Um,
But can you let us know your
Please,
background? What
what
you
do
do?
you
What is Blue Light Consulting?
so background. So I'm a consultant, started at 18, didn't know that I was consulting. Opened my first firm at 22, lost that firm before I was 25.
Okay.
Um, Declared bankruptcy, started over again, started a new firm 2 years later, which is Blue Light Consulting. Got some traction and then COVID hit. And so it was like just a battle from there. But it's been good. So rebuilt the firm. Blue Light, essentially what we do is we help our clients turn their thoughts into things that change the world,
Okay.
right? Very
Okay.
short, very simple. Now, basically, because of my breadth of experience over these last 12 years, it's allowed me to not only have a lot of different connections, but a lot of different skill sets that I can bring to the table,
hmm
right? So Blue Light is the culmination of all of that experience,
Okay.
right? So whether you're starting a business or you're trying to grow a business or you have a marketing campaign that you can't quite find the right voice for, or maybe it's just not creative enough. If you're still trying to think outside the box, then you need to work with a firm like Blue Light, right? Because we
Hmm.
don't believe that there is a box. So
Let's say
everything
that
that we
again. Let's
create,
say that again.
yeah,
You don't
yeah.
what don't you believe that there's a
We don't believe that there is a box,
ah,
right? The box is a construct.
okay.
And it really limits, if your goal is to think outside the box is still limiting. But
hmm
if you don't believe that there's a box, anything's possible, right?
Mm.
And so that's really what we focus on.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, yeah. So that's Blue Light in a nutshell. A lot of times I'll get phone calls or text messages that are like, hey, let me run this by you, right? You and I have done this before.
hmm
Hey, I'm working on this. What do you think?
hmm
And I guess it's just my personality. I just have to give you the details. Like, you should think about this, talk to this person. So, you know,
I think it's a gift, right? To be able to see
it
things
is.
people can't see and kind of like
Yeah, of
realize how it should work. Would you consider
course.
yourself a strategy expert?
I consider myself a strategist. I think when I start getting into that whole expert thing, my imposter syndrome kicks in a little bit,
Okay.
right? So, um, I like to think of myself as someone who has the ability to be strategic and to be innovative and to think without boundaries creatively. And
Okay.
so that's what I bring to the table. Whether or not I'm an expert, you'll have to ask my clients. But
I'll say it. I'll say it. Let me say it for you then. You guys, I think that he is an expert because the way that he's able to bring things to life in terms of seeing something one time and be like, oh, this is what you need to do, right? Very
Mhm.
fast, very quick. And a lot of people can't think on their feet like that to something that actually works,
True,
right? Like a strategy that actually
true.
is like, I can implement this right now,
Mhm.
you know? So when it comes to strategy in small businesses, what does that even look like to you? Like, what is like if a small business comes, right, and they're like, you know they need a strategy, but how do they know when they need to bring someone in to kind of be their strategist to help streamline their branding, their marketing, their sales? What
They
is
don't.
okay.
Most of the time, they don't.
Okay.
Most of the time, um, it's an emergency situation, right? So it's a lot of times they're in a situation and they've talked to someone, maybe a client or a partner, and they're like, you need to call Shawn
hmm
to see if he can help you, see if he knows somebody or if he can give you an idea. So that's how it starts a lot of the time.
Okay.
There have been a few instances where I've been brought in proactively. So like recently, I had a real estate client sign on with me. These guys had already been doing their thing, but their whole system and everything was in their head,
hmm
right? So they hadn't spent a lot of time on like creating their foundational documents and thinking through their org chart. And okay, when this grows, what is that workflow going to look like? And how are we going to train people and onboard them?
hmm
They hadn't really thought through branding and messaging and that sort of thing, right?
Okay.
So our goal was to sit down with them to develop a legacy brand,
Okay.
right? Something that would live beyond them, a story and a narrative that would live beyond them and resonate with other people. And so, like all of our other clients, we get them to focus on the community, focus on people,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think you've heard me say this before, but your purpose is rooted in people and bigger than politics, right?
Okay.
So we try to get our clients to focus on the people again. Forget about all the other stuff. How are we going to help the people? And
Mm.
so they developed a program that basically ensures that as their as their as their company grows and develops, their impact will grow in terms of the community impact that they're able to have, right? Because there's already this almost this foresight around the money and what they're going to do with the profit and how they're going to use it to better other people's lives and give people chances and things like that. So we sat down with them. We went through a 90-day crash course of developing everything. We rebranded them. We did their brand guidelines, did their brand narrative, their website, everything. Took their systems out of their head, put them all on paper. So now they have actual decks and PDFs and different things that they can use to train people and create videos and stuff like that. So to me, that's what strategy looks like for a small business. It looks like preparing for where you're trying to go,
Okay, so you hit
you
on a
know?
couple of things I wanna piggyback.
Please. Yeah, because sometimes I get to rambling. So just stop me
Oh, it's all
whenever.
good gems, though. It's all good gems. So,
I
number one,
appreciate it.
do you think that for any company, right, big, small, medium,
Hmm.
if they focus on people, if they focus on the mission, that the sales will come? Because, as a small business, as a tech company, as a big business, everyone's worried about
Hmm.
rev, right? It's kind of like, that sounds
Right.
great, right?
Right.
But that's going to make me more money right now, right? So, what do you
Yeah.
think to brands that are thinking that way? Like, we love the people, right? Of course, we want to do good, but right now, are we making the moves to get more money?
Yeah. Listen, I'm gonna tell you, there has to be realistically, there has to be a focus on the money.
Hmm.
There has to be a focus on the money. What I can tell you is a lot of clients that I've worked with, I found that they sell themselves short on the money side. They
Of
leave a lot of money on the table, but it's because they haven't thought through from what I call a foundational perspective. What is this going to look like as a billion-dollar company? You haven't even branded it as such, right? You haven't even branded it like a multi-million dollar company. You haven't
Mhm.
even branded it like a six-figure company.
Okay.
So I start with them there. And then typically the ideas come like, hey, you ever thought about doing this for revenue generation or that? So I think the revenue has to be a part of it, but it has to be mission focused. It still has to be, it has to be, you can't just be focused on making money to make money. I mean, you can, but what's the use,
Mhm.
right? There
Mhm.
has to be something bigger than you that's driving that. And
Okay.
so
Okay.
please, please, no,
I,
please.
I was gonna ask a question. My question is, when you see a brand, right, how do you know that they're
Hmm.
marketing themselves as $1 billion, $1 million, or six-figure company? What does that look like from your lens?
I
So
feel it.
what- Okay.
It has a feeling. It has a, when someone has a vintage car and you see them in their vintage car and you can just tell like they put a lot of care and time and love into that vehicle, right? From the
Mhm.
way it sounds, the way it looks, the way it feels. Um, to me, I have that same reaction to branding, right?
Okay.
So I can look at something and know that you just threw it together just to say that you had something
Okay.
versus, okay, this is someone who, see, a brand will talk to you. A logo will talk to you if you know how to listen.
Okay.
Sometimes you can see a logo and you can say, I see the story, but the quality's not great, right? The execution was poor.
Hmm.
That's fine. You can fix that. Sometimes you can see a logo and say, it looks beautiful, but it has no story, it has no substance, right? There's no essence there.
Okay.
And then sometimes you see a logo and you think they're not even trying,
Okay.
right? And
Okay.
sometimes that company, I've had clients that have come through my door making millions of dollars with logos that look like clip
Okay,
art.
I was just going to ask you this question, right? Because I see a lot of websites every day, brands every day. The website's trash, their branding's horrible. It looks like
Mm-hmm.
nothing, but they're making six
Mm-hmm.
figures or $1 million, millions of
Mm-hmm.
dollars a year, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the branding is not really translating to the value that I think their company is worth.
Yeah,
Obviously, they're
exactly.
doing the
Yeah.
work in the background to
Mm-hmm.
make the rev. So is that always right all the time in terms of what we perceive to be value is not always what is actual value? Because how far does branding go, right? How far does aesthetics go with a brand if you have a really good product?
To me, that's the difference between, that's like asking the difference between swimming in your bathtub,
Mhm.
swimming in a pool, and swimming in the ocean.
Okay.
At a certain size, swimming in your bathtub feels like swimming in a pool. And it might even feel like swimming in the ocean, but it's not, right? At
Okay.
another size, swimming in the pool feels like swimming in the ocean till you get bigger and you learn how to swim. Now it's just a pool, right? You can't even get into the bathtub at that point and
Mhm.
try to swim.
Mhm.
And then when you learn how to swim in the ocean and you learn how to get through currents and these all these different things, right? At that point you've grown to another level. So to your point about the business, they may be generating revenue, they may be making money, but they can only swim in their bathtub,
So you're
right?
saying, okay.
So it blocks them out of certain
Mm.
opportunities. So I'll give you an example. I had a client, and so they have been around more than 80 years, and they go to some big name organizations. They're like, hey, we're in the community and we want to partner with you and do like a joint marketing campaign.
Mhm.
So they were like, well, no. I mean, your branding's dated. We have no idea what you guys are doing in the community. Like this wouldn't
Not
make sense
there.
as a brand partnership. Like it just doesn't look good.
Mhm.
So we go back to the board, and when they came to me for the strategy, my strategy was you need to rebrand and you need to tell the entire story of this organization because it's been almost 80 years and no one knows it, right?
Mm.
So we go back, we do their brand narrative. Now, mind you, this is an 80-plus-year-old organization.
Okay.
We literally went back to the drawing board with them to square one, that foundational story, and we built it from there, right? Incorporating not only what was, but what is coming in the future and what is currently, right? So we
Okay.
infuse all that, we put it all together. Um, After the brand relaunch, um, the executive director calls me one day. He's like, I just want to thank you. I said, for what? And he said, I want to thank you for your strategy and for helping us rebrand. Those same two organizations had given him checks that day.
Okay, so let me point a couple of things out, right? Number one, a lot of times I think brands we can get in our own way, right? And that's why we need
Oh,
someone like you to
absolutely.
come in because we're
Yeah.
working it all the time. We can't see that what the outside sees, right? In terms of
Mhm.
branding, marketing, how they view us because we're so in the grind of the everyday, right?
Right.
So I think
Right.
that's kind of like a pain point when we're like when we need someone coming in like a consultant, right? Like a
Hmm.
strategist to come in to kind of help us maneuver and see kind of like the
Hmm.
picture of what we're building, you know? And
Yeah.
that's like prime example of like when you need it, right? And then how it can
Hmm.
change the way people see you and value your company, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because there are those companies that feel like, well, I mean, we're doing okay, you know,
Like why?
without it, but you throw them in the pool and then, they can't survive at that level because all the elements aren't there in order to help them do it. So I think that would be my take. I don't know. Is that too like,
No, I think that's a prime
okay.
example because I think that's an
Yeah.
example that we all can use in any.
Hmm.
The thing is, like, I think every company needs eyes outside of them. Whether you're doing
Oh, absolutely.
$1 billion, whether that's why they bring in experts and bring in strategists at
Absolutely.
any level,
Yeah. Hmm.
because it unlocks things like people have gifts, right? And they can unlock things
Right.
that you can't. So they can see something,
Right.
oh, this is who you need to collaborate. This is you're
Mhm.
like, I didn't
Yeah.
see that. I didn't
Yeah.
even realize that, you know?
No, really. I mean, it's a lot of fun. What I do is a lot of fun, at least, because I kind of just do it my way.
Okay.
I don't try and show up as your typical consultant. I mean, as you can see, I'm in my,
Yeah, he's the
my
robe
shirt.
guy, guys. He's the robe man.
Listen, chief robe wearer. Okay. Um, that is me.
This,
But
I love it. So, okay, so
yeah,
another question. Oh,
go ahead.
so
Yep,
were you
please.
gonna say something? Were you gonna say something?
No, I was thinking I had a work session, an in-person work session with two of my clients this past weekend,
Okay.
and they both wanted to wear their robes to the work session. They didn't. They just ended up wearing like sweats and stuff.
Hold on. Is
I was
that
gonna wear my robe, and I'm like, you could have because it's in my home.
hold
So
on, let's talk about that real fast. What is that? Is that branding? Is that you're changing behaviors when it comes to that, right? As a
I
brand, we make it
uh
comfortable, right?
maybe
To kind
maybe
of
yeah.
influence their behavior
Maybe I'm giving people permission to be lazy.
or to be them
But
be
let
comfortable.
me tell you, yeah, because it started with me. So this is just how I am. When I'm around my house and I work from home, so it's like I'm always in my robe. I mean, I may have sweats on or a hoodie or, but I'm always in something comfortable. I'm not a fan of dressing up,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So as you know this already, but
Hmm.
I'm not a fan of dressing up. So what happened was I get a call from a friend of mine on Zoom, and I told her about some software. She's like, "Oh, can you help me with this software? It's giving me trouble." So I'm like, "Oh yeah." Hop on a call. I'm in my robe. She's used to seeing me in my robe, so I'm not, right.
Different about it.
Then she goes, "Oh, such and such. They're gonna hop on real quick, and because I want them to hear what you have to say." Now, the such and such she was referring to were the CFO and the CEO of the company, right?
Okay. Okay.
So immediately in my mind, I'm freaking out because I'm like, oh, I'm in my robe, like I'm not even in a shirt or hoodie or.
Hmm.
So I put that in the back of my mind and I go into execution mode.
Hmm.
Give them the help that they need. They're more than grateful. No one says anything about the robe. Like it's not a big deal.
Okay.
So then I'm beating myself up about it later. And then I stopped myself and I thought, okay, I was minding my own business, right? When this person called me for help.
Okay.
Now they got the help that they needed, and I was wearing my robe.
Hmm.
What's the big deal? Did it prevent me from giving them the help that they needed? So when the answer was no, I was like, so who cares, right? So I had a networking meeting that following, I think it was that following day or a couple days later, something like that.
Okay.
And I went in my robe. I was like, I don't feel like getting
You
dressed.
went to
This is
the, I
how
think you told me the story, but just so
yeah.
the
But
viewer
I went in my robe.
understand.
I
You
went in
went
my
to the
robe.
networking event in your robe.
Yeah. Yeah, it was virtual. It was virtual.
Oh,
It
okay.
wasn't in
Okay.
person.
Gotcha. I
I
thought
have
you were
yet to
walking
go in
into a
person in
place.
my no. But what's funny is I'm in the middle of planning an event right now. It's like a little fireside chat kind of a thing for my book, and it is gonna be robe, like it's gonna be all comfortable attire. We're coming in, we're gonna have a conversation, it's gonna be great. But anyway,
Okay.
so I show up in my robe, and it was just the most comfortable I've ever been.
Okay.
I mean, really, I just because I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I was already working. You know what I'm saying? I was already busy. And so I wasn't going to go change and then come back in. And no, I was going to show up just like this. And it just became my thing after that.
But it's also a story, right? And that goes back to like brand,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
creating that feeling and that story about your branding that people resonate with
Hmm.
and that they're
Yeah.
comfortable with, you
Yeah. I had one potential client, we were talking. He said it threw him off at first. He's like, I thought maybe something was wrong. And then he's like, after talking with you, I can see like you clearly, you know what you're doing. He
know.
said, but now that I'm thinking about it, it makes me trust you more because I don't feel like you have anything to hide. It's not like you came here and you were all like clean
But
cut and buttoned up. He's like, you're on a road.
mhm.
I said, exactly.
So
Exactly.
when he said that, did that give you kind of like reassurance of like I can just be myself? Like it actually resonates.
Oh, I didn't care at that point. At that point, I loved it when people were thrown off by it because you're not my client.
Mm,
If I already have to show up with the mask on, so that's not even going to work. Because guess what?
mm.
Sometimes being me, here's the thing, okay, that everyone needs to understand about authenticity, which is a buzzword nowadays, right? But understand this about authenticity. Authenticity means that sometimes you're going to rub people the wrong way, even when you don't mean to.
Okay.
And you can't concern yourself with that. If
Mm.
you're rubbing people the wrong way, you're doing it right.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
So pretty much just power and being yourself, right? Because you know that if they
look at Donald
like
Trump.
you for who you are, and if they
There's
don't,
no more powerful example than Donald J. Trump.
mhm,
I'm not supporting or endorsing it, but I'm just saying authenticity in its purest form right there.
mhm, mhm.
Clearly, it works, right? Now, whether or not you use that power to uplift or
Uh-huh.
suppress others is your business. But I feel like authenticity for me is a non negotiable
Okay.
because it just doesn't feel good. You know what I'm saying? It just feels like, I don't know. I can't really
But
describe
I
it. It's
also
like,
think that goes back to your first point when we're talking about brands is that there's a feeling that you get when you see their logo, when you see their branding.
oh, yeah,
Like whether it's
yeah,
authentic, whether it's real, whether or not you can resonate
hmm
with it. I think that's exactly what you're
hmm
saying in terms of how you
yeah,
show up and how brands show up. Whether
hmm
or not they show up real or not, whoever resonates with them is going to resonate. If they don't, it's not for you,
yeah,
right? You can
yeah,
only, I think, I think we can only focus on, I always say ICP, like who is the person that we want to come into our space, right?
hmm
I think once a brand is clear about that, it doesn't really matter whether or not you want to work with me, like me or not, because like whoever resonates is going to work with me,
yeah,
no matter
yeah.
how I show
I
up, no matter
mean,
what my branding is, you know?
basically, because I mean, the road hasn't stopped me.
The role.
I'm still getting introductions. I'm still taking meetings. I'm
No,
still doing
I meet
smart
it every
calls.
day.
So,
Yeah.
it hasn't. I feel like for me, um, it really, liberated me.
Mm,
It was like that final barrier in terms of, okay, I'm going to do this consulting thing my way. I don't
mm,
want to be like any other consultant you've
okay.
seen. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Um, the other thing about branding is this: you have to remember, a brand is a living thing.
Mhm.
It's not one and done. It should always be growing and evolving and
But I also think a lot of brands don't think of branding that way. I think they get their logo, they get their colors,
sure.
it's a
Hmm.
wrap, right? It's not
Yeah,
evolving. Because, as you know,
yeah.
we have to move with the times, right? We always have to innovate and always have to, and I
You
understand that
should be.
you should be, right? Um,
Yeah,
but I don't think a lot of people view it that way. And I don't think a lot of people know the importance of having a brand, right? Really putting the effort to make it look good or feel
yeah,
good, you know? I
yeah,
think that's where the disconnect
yeah.
is for sure. When it
Well, because everyone's focused on making the money.
hmm
There's no balance between the making the money and, I'm going to refer to it as the integrity of one's calling, right? Because I believe that we're all called into entrepreneurship. Like we all end up here somehow. And
hmm
then we find a mission, or a mission finds us, rather.
hmm
And so with that, there's a certain level of integrity that comes with doing it well. I believe if something is not executed well, or at least with the intention of being executed, done with the intention of being executed well, it's the same as not being executed at all,
Mm.
right? So, and the reason I talk about the intention is because the first iteration of my website wasn't the greatest iteration of my website, but
hmm
my intention was to put something forward, right?
hmm
That, reflected the level of effort and strategy that I put into the site. But even in that, I woke up 2 days ago and whole new homepage, just
I
just
also,
like that.
I also think there's freedom in that a lot of people don't have.
There is,
There's
there
freedom
is.
of
I love it.
change. There's freedom to just
Yeah,
do what you want to do without caring what people think about it.
yeah,
And I think a lot of people don't have that freedom to explore. So that's a beautiful thing to have, is just to get up and to be able to do it yourself, right? A lot of people have to
yeah.
rely
That's been a
on
blessing
people
for me. Yeah,
to design
that
something.
that part has been and that comes from me having to, in my early days, I was working with clients that didn't have budgets,
So you had to be
right? So they
scrappy.
would come to me and they'd be like, look, I got $5,000 and I need this, and this, right? And now I have to figure out a way to get all of those things for that
Mm-hmm.
$5,000.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I taught myself how to do a lot of different things out of necessity,
Mm-hmm.
but, and that also is how I came up with skin in the game, right? So one of our service offers, which allows us to work with you, right, for a period of time for one payment. And you get all the perks of still, what comes with that monthly membership, but it's just that one-time payment. And so that's actually what we just did with the real estate company, right?
Ah, okay.
And yeah, because if the budget is limited or they're a startup or they only have X amount of dollars, then we'll meet you where you are. But um I say all that to say there is freedom in building your business around your vision. I think so many of us have fallen victim to, being inspired, even I'd say divinely inspired to
Mm-hmm.
do something and then executing that just to fall into the trap of trying to do it like everyone else or trying to do it like everyone else sees it. Do you know how many people told me that the Spark call wasn't going to work?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, no one's going to pay you for an intro call. Like, no one's going to.
But
Okay.
uh, you're like, you'll see.
Okay.
You know what?
You
But
can think that.
I think that's the power of being an entrepreneur as well. And I think
Hmm.
every entrepreneur has that for them to even do what they're doing anyway, right? Now,
Yeah,
to
you
what
better.
degree do they have it? That varies, right? But
Yeah, now that's all up for
that's a
debate.
different
Yeah.
story, right? But
Right.
it's something that because a lot of people can't visualize anything for themselves, right? Like they can't
True.
envision themselves having a company or making six figures a month or making
Mm-hmm.
building something that's $1 billion. So I think that with all of us, there's something that keeps us going, and we don't really
Mm-hmm.
care what other like even in my first company, I remember I was talking to some developers. They're like, "Oh, this is not gonna work." Like
Mm-hmm.
everyone has a platform like anyone can build it, right? I said, "Okay." I went and got another developer, built
You'll
it,
see.
working with Shell, Pennzoil, different activations. So if I would have believed
Mm-hmm.
them, I wouldn't be where I
Mm-hmm.
am today with the experience that I have. But it has to
Yeah.
be something that, like you said, like you'll see. I don't really care what you think because I have a vision
Mm-hmm.
bigger than what you can even imagine.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there is something definitely in all of us that keeps us going. Because I definitely have had moments where I think the most frustrating thing for me has always been, you know, and now it looking back at it now, I can kind of see it. When I was in it, I couldn't see it. But like I told you, people telling me, no one's gonna pay for the Spark call, and they were telling me this while they were on a Spark call with me. I just hadn't called it the Spark call yet. So, it's just one of those things where now looking back, I can see like, oh, they never wanted me to charge for it. Like when it was just an introductory kind of offer and feature, it was lovely, right? But as soon as you start
Mm.
seeing like, there's actually some value here, right? And what did it for me was, um, I had an associate at the time. We were on a Spark call. Again, this is before I even really knew what it was. She just hit me up and was like, "Hey, I want to pick your brain and kind of do some brain dumping." So I'm like, "Okay, cool." So we get on the call. We're talking, and she's telling me how she's not getting traction with this offer. Right? The offer is great. The language around the offer is great. Everything's great, but the name is terrible.
Okay.
So as we're talking, I tell her, this is what you're doing for these people. You should just call it this. That's how you should brand it because people associate this type of service person with this action and this result. So you're giving them it's a different action, but the same result, right?
Mhm.
Around what you're doing. She loved it. So she takes it, she rebrands it, she does her whole thing. And that's now a six figure, probably more than six figures. But that turned into like a primary offer.
So just that switch of the name.
Just that one little switch.
And that's all it
Because
can
it
be.
connected with people. People were like, oh, now I know what it's gonna do for my right.
Um,
They understood the language and what she was saying as she was spelling it all out, but it was just the name, just really you read all that and then you go back to the name, like, well, why is it called this? You know what I mean? Just that one little thing. And
Um,
so rebranded it, and that was all that it took. It didn't take much.
okay, so I want to switch gears a little bit, right? Because now we're getting into
Please.
like stories, right? And like
Yeah.
to tell a story. So, how do you think video comes into play in creating and telling a brand's story?
So I don't think that
Or
I
I mean,
think that the way that video plays a part has changed
okay.
because people don't have the attention span for the long form. This is, as you know, the long form
Hmm.
video.
Content.
I love a good long form. But anyway, so they don't have the attention
Not a good
span,
long
right?
form.
So, you know, but they don't have the attention span. And so I think now video is for capturing moments,
Okay.
right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Not so much messaging. But I believe that
Hmm.
mhm.
Okay. Okay.
Now, I believe that the theme, the topic, whatever is being discussed in the video becomes the message.
Okay.
But
Okay.
the video itself is all about the moment. That's how
Okay.
I see video,
Okay.
you
So
know?
let's dig into that a little bit, right? Because I think that can be
Okay.
confusing to people to really understand, right? So
Hmm.
we're saying video is a moment, right? Because it's a moment in time where you're capturing that moment,
Right.
those words, right?
Hmm.
But the message in the video is what resonates with your prospective customer or whoever's looking at the video, right? So wouldn't
Hmm.
you say that that is the perfect message? If we have someone, and I guess let's go back a little bit, right? I guess
Hmm.
what type of videos are we talking about, right? Because that would give, people a perspective of the type of
Well,
that. So we can talk
I
about,
mean,
uh-huh.
go ahead.
No, what are you gonna say? What are you gonna say?
I'm just speaking to short form videos because I really don't feel like long form videos really are, not only are they not as prominent, but people just aren't, as someone who makes them, they're not getting the same sort of traction that like my shorts get
Mhm.
on YouTube, right? Where it's like, that was 15 seconds. Like I spent a whole 3 minutes explaining what I, right? So my point in saying that is what you're speaking to in terms of that individual and what they're giving to the video, to me, I read that as context.
Okay.
The messaging in my brain is how the brand leverages that context to create the overall message.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I was just trying to clarify just for people listening is what type of videos are we referring to in terms of customer videos, video testimonials, it could be animated videos. Like I think we have to be clear on the type of video. So let's just say testimonials, right? A video testimonial
Hmm.
or a user-generated content. Somewhere, because I think there's power. You let me know as a strategist, right? As a consultant,
Hmm. Hmm.
brands. I think there's power in giving your audience the power to create for you, to pretty much tell your
Hmm.
story, to tell that message, right? Because I think
Hmm.
a lot of times we want to tell the message ourselves, but we're always going to say good things about what we're doing. We're gonna say we're the most amazing brand. Come to me. I
Yeah.
mean, that's our job,
Right. Right.
right? But when you give it to someone that's actually using your brand or purchasing a product for you or your services, and they're saying it, it hits and resonates different with your prospective customer. So pretty much you're allowing them to be the messenger to tell your story and to kind of give
Hmm.
context to like why someone should buy from you or, purchase your
Yeah.
product. So that's what I was saying in terms of what do you think about that in terms of that
Oh,
being
not just video in general. You're saying,
customer
okay,
led.
okay, I got you.
I wasn't
Okay.
clear. I'm sorry.
So
I'm sorry about
no,
that.
no, 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 no. You're fine. Because you just said video. So you
I
know I'm
know.
gonna go from like
I know.
up here. Okay, but no, if we because some of what I was saying I feel like plays into that a little bit. So if we're talking about user generated content, as a consultant, I think what happens is I'm gonna flip it.
Okay.
I'm gonna say brands focus too much on the moment
Okay.
and not enough on the messaging. And as a result, they miss the power of the moment.
Hold on. I love that you said that, right? Because let me say something real fast. Is that
Please.
a lot of times brands they want the content, right? They want people talking
Mm-hmm.
about them at any means
Mm-hmm.
possible. They just want people to talk.
Right.
But if you're not
Right.
clear on what you need them to say, the message that
Mm-hmm.
you need them to say in the video is all for nothing,
Mm-hmm.
right? You got a lot of
Right.
content that's not going to resonate with not one soul, right? So I think
Mm-hmm.
brands have to be more strategic in terms of asking right questions, getting the right
Mm-hmm.
moment that tells the story, and that's understanding who your prospective customers are. And also, if you don't know what your messaging is, there's no need for the people to create content for you. If you don't know what they need to say in order for
Mm-hmm.
you to amplify your message, then there's no need for anyone to create any type of content for you because you're not clear. And it's just going to be
Mm-hmm.
jumbo on top of jumbo because your messaging is all over the.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the messaging is critical because, and that strategy behind it is critical because, to your point, even if someone just talks about their experience, it may have been a powerful experience, but if you can't tie it back into your messaging strategy, then I mean, essentially,
Why
you
we
can't
have it.
communicate it effectively,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So, yeah, I think that I mean, everybody wants to go viral, right? That's the goal.
But
But I
I don't
think the
think,
focus is too much on that and not enough on really creating evergreen content that is useful
or,
forever.
and I don't
Yeah,
really
that's
think
really the goal.
going viral is the thing to do anymore, right? I think that
Yeah,
you
I
have to
mean,
think of
I'd be the
content
wrong
as
person to
like,
ask. You know,
I
I hate social media.
know. But you know what? I think if it can resonate with one person, you're doing something right,
I
right?
agree with that. Yeah,
Like
I
if you
agree.
get one customer from that content that
Hmm.
actually sees themselves within that person and within that
Hmm.
video, then you are
Then
going
you've
in the
done,
right
yeah,
direction.
I agree.
Um,
Yeah, I think engagement is tricky though,
okay,
you know. Okay, so I'll give you an example when it comes to messaging, right? So
okay.
I had this client that I was working, and so we're talking,
Hmm.
and it's not that they didn't have any traction, because he had traction, like he was doing all right,
Hmm.
but he asked me for some strategic advice. I gave it, and he got a little defensive. So he's
Okay.
like, I think I told you about this in just one of our private conversations. But he's like, I'm making noise. Don't you see my posts and don't you this and that? And, I'm making noise. And so I let him finish. And then my response to him was, a wet fart makes noise.
Not over.
Do you want to make noise or do you want to make beautiful music? And
Mm.
his answer was he wanted to make beautiful music, right? Versus noise. In
Okay.
order to do that, your strategy is going to have to be very clear. You have to think through the experience that you're creating when someone sees that content, right? Is it to inform them? Is it to inspire them? Is it to get them to think about something differently? Is it to, I
Hmm.
think a lot of people just don't take the time to do that. Instead, and I've been guilty of this, we do things to say it's done, to check it off the list,
Hmm.
right? But that's it. There's no rhyme or reason
Aftercare.
to. So, yeah, so I just think that platforms like Vidlo are perfect because number one, they're easy to use. Okay. So
Hmm.
let's just start there. And also, I think your passion around UGC specifically, right? And your focus there is really going to drive the conversation forward as it relates to how companies think about engaging their target
Hmm.
audience, right? Because a lot of people want that feedback, but they don't know the first thing about getting it. And I
And
think that's the gap that you bridge.
oh, I love that you said that because I think that it's all about that experience, right?
Hmm.
What experience are you creating to create that message where they want to create content
Yeah.
branding? And I think
Yeah.
for a lot of brands get it wrong. Like they want the content, right? And they're like, oh, we can use any
Hmm.
platform, but is there a platform that's allowing you to create an experience to capture the
Right.
content that you can use
Right.
where the people
So
actually want to do
powerful.
it? You know, I think that's where
Well, that's the other part. A lot of times they don't
create.
want to do it.
Hmm.
You know, the user interface is too difficult,
Hmm.
or it's too much, or it's too many steps. Or I had a conversation like this recently with a partner, talking about their process and how it's too many steps.
Mm,
You want them to go through 10 steps in order to get this end result, but it's like you could really probably get them to the same result in three,
mm-hmm.
right? So um that's what I appreciated about Vidlo. It's like very simple, very clean interface. It's not like a bunch of buttons, a bunch of stuff going on. I haven't seen the I need to check out the new website because the
Okay.
website's been updated,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
Okay, okay,
We updated the
yes, yes.
platform. We updated the platform. We updated the
Okay.
website. Listen, we're taking what
Nice.
you shared, right? We got to keep on
I
innovating,
love
keep
it.
on
I
growing.
love no, listen, you
You
you better.
know,
Anything that's not growing is dead. So you
listen,
better keep growing.
we gotta
You
keep
better keep
growing.
growing and keep going.
But
I love
I
it.
I always appreciate you just as a friend and as a strategist because I think
Same.
it's important for founders to have people around that can give them honest feedback and that want to see them be successful, right? And if you don't have that
Yeah.
around you, vice versa, that's kind of
Hmm.
who are you surrounding yourself with? And
Yeah.
that's how you grow, right? You need honest feedback to be like, this ain't, you need this without thinking they're gonna get
Listen,
defensive or get mad or.
no, really. I have a client right now. I was talking to her about my book. And so we're talking, I'm telling her like, it's like the gift that just keeps on giving. I'm just gonna let people discover it and it'll just be like, a thing eventually.
Mhm.
She stopped me and she was like, that's stupid. She said that's what stupid. She
Mhm.
used some
Mhm.
choice words, but
Mhm.
she's like, that's stupid. Right. And then she proceeded to tell me why it was stupid. But having her just check me in that moment and be like, stop playing small, stop, just go for
Mhm.
what you know was important. So you're right. It's important to have people around you like that. And this is also someone who every time she walks into a room, she says my name.
Mhm.
Every single time. Like when she goes to a meeting, she's like, "Oh, I got this meeting with such and such," and she'll call me after the meeting. We'll just kind of be talking about it. She's like, "Oh, by the way, I dropped your name, so you might be hearing from this person." So
Mhm.
it's being surrounded by people like that is important.
Yeah. Because it
It's
allows you to know
important.
you can trust them, right? And so what they're saying is of a value.
Yeah,
They're coming from
yeah,
a good
yeah.
heart.
And it's just great to be able to see other people win, and I don't know. I
Mhm.
just like sharing this
That's what winners
mind of
do,
mine.
right? I feel like when you want to be like you want to see other people win because you know how hard it is to get to a certain,
Tell you, you'd be surprised.
I know
You'd be
a lot of people
surprised.
are
You
not,
you
but
you know how hard it is, but what I found in my journey is that people don't care about how hard it is for you when you make it look easy.
hmm That's
But
true.
they also don't understand that you making it look easy is nothing more than God's grace being sufficient. It's
But
just an example
also,
of
they
that.
really don't know what you've been through, right?
No, they don't. They
And so
don't. And
they
that's what
don't
I'm saying.
know
They don't
the
understand
light.
like the
Yeah.
grace that's
Yeah.
bridging the gap,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's making this like I'm not carrying this on my own. There've just been so many points in this journey. And I talk about this in my book, Letters to a Dreamer, where I talk about how, you know, there have been points where God has carried me through this journey where there's only one set of footprints in the sand, so to speak,
hmm
and they're not mine. So,
Hmm.
I think that there's a lot to be said about surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals
hmm Let's
for
put a
sure.
let's put a thing to that. After that, one last question that I have for you, Sean.
Please.
What would be three tips that you would give a brand about how they should approach strategy overall? Right? Kind of like the beginning, the middle, and the end. I want you to pretty much, I'm looking for takeaways that someone can implement today, right? Like they could look at their brand, fix something real fast, and figure out if the messaging, the strategy is right for them to get to their goal, right?
Mm.
So, like, what are three things that you would tell them to do?
I would say first, I would tell them to focus on how it feels. Does it feel genuine? Does it feel authentic? Does it feel like you? If it
Mhm.
feels like you're trying to sell something, you're probably not going to hit the mark,
Okay.
right? So, what I usually tell people is to speak from their passion because that will
Drive.
drive everything else, right?
Okay.
Um, the second thing that I would say, um, second piece of advice around their brand is make sure that it's attached to something bigger than you. You know, the result has to be about more than making money. It has to be about changing lives in some way, right? And even think beyond you being gone. So what are programs that you can establish and partnerships you can establish and just different things that you can put together that better people's everyday lives? And the third thing I would say is do right by people.
Mm.
You know, if there are instances and opportunities for you to go above and beyond for someone, do it because you might be the answer to their prayer. So that
Mm.
would be my third thing. And I think the third one opens up so many other doors.
Yeah. So pretty much we're saying strategy is just not all about business strategy, right? I think it's also
No.
about how you live your life, the strategy and how you
Mhm.
pretty much where your heart is and like what you're going to accept,
Yeah.
even, give.
Yeah. Make sure that's aligned with, you know,
I love that.
what you're doing and saying.
Well, where can they find you? Where can they go to Shawn to get some consulting advice,
Well,
social media?
yeah. So
Okay.
you can find me on LinkedIn. Shawn Bagley Jr., I believe it is how it's set up now.
Okay.
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram. BluLight Consulting has pages there. You can find Blue Light's page on LinkedIn, or you can go to our website, www.bluelightconsulting.com, and learn more about us and what we do and how we can help you.
You guys, please go.
Oh, my book. I forgot my book. I'm
Oh, yeah,
sorry.
please, please shout out the book.
Letters to a Dreamer is available on Amazon. And just very quickly, it is a collection of 111 letters that I wrote to myself
Mm.
during some of the darkest periods of my life.
Mhm.
And I published it last July. So it is available now.
You guys, I have the book. I'm still reading through the book, but it's amazing so far. So please go to Amazon,
Thank you.
get his book, and go to if you guys
Thank you.
need anything when it comes to strategy, when it comes to thinking outside the box, Blue Light Consulting is the it's the spot. It is the place
I
where
appreciate it.
I think that if you want to be a dreamer, right? If you want to dream outside of what you're thinking, that
Mhm.
they can kind of unlock that for you. So, Shawn, it's been
Yeah.
an amazing conversation. Thank you so
Yes.
much
Yes. Thank you,
for taking
China.
the time to join me, and we will talk to you guys
Absolutely.
soon. Thank you.